Hey YouTube, it's Captain Horror again, back with another tier list ranking. I am joined by a good friend of mine known as FelixTheGrey. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I wanted to have you on this one because I know you absolutely love A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, one of, if not my favorite slasher franchises.
I really enjoy it too. It's a classic. And that's why I wanted to have you on here on these tier list rankings. So we have tiers S, A, B, C, D, and F. Now, when I did the Friday the 13th ones with Horizon, I didn't include an F tier. And I think that does help because I feel like you're going to have those really good movies all the way at the top, but then you're also going to have those, it's really good, it's really watchable. And I feel like that's somewhere like kind of like a B and an a C is kind of like it's okay but watchable. D's like it's bad but watchable, and then like F is like it's terrible. I don't want to watch this ever again.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
And that was really complex doing the Friday the 13th series. So I definitely wanted to add another tier to this. So let's go ahead and start off with the very first movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Or as
Uh,
you could say, wasn't the working title Wes Craven's A New Nightmare on Elm Street?
that one I am not actually sure about.
Well, I don't think there's much debate on this. We both really like this a lot.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
No,
I I really like the visuals on this for 1984. What was it, 1984 when this came out?
1984. Yep.
Yeah. Like
The
yeah,
the
go ahead.
shot that you see Freddy and his arms are stretched out all the way across the alley.
And then the
It's
iconic line,
one
"This
of the
is God."
one of the best introductions of a killer I've seen.
He chops his fingers off too.
It is so great. It really sets the mood for how Freddy's going to be eventually later on down the series, that kind of just kind of sick, twisted sense of humor, and he shows it off right at our meeting point with him.
Yeah, and I like this version of Freddy too because it's the less comical Freddy because he does get a little comical in some of the later movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the more dark, twisted sense of humor in a way. Um, the effects for this movie are really good. I like the scene where Nancy's in the bed, Freddy pops out kind of through the wall. That was all practical.
Yeah.
No,
That was a beautifully done practical effect. Absolutely beautiful.
and I would say the whole movie is it's all practical effects too. Um, Johnny Depp's character getting sucked into the bed and the blood spurting out, that's very iconic. Um, what was Nancy's friend? Oh man, the girl, the blonde girl.
Oh, yes.
Was
I know
it
what you're
Tina?
talking about.
Was her name Tina?
That sounds right. That sounds right.
That feels like
Yeah, it
something I
was
might
Tina.
have to look up. Well, it was Tina. Okay,
It was Tina.
okay, yeah, I'll let you look stuff up for research as we go along here. Yeah, Tina getting killed and just flailing all over the ceiling and the blood going everywhere. That's a very iconic scene too. Scared me as a kid, made me not want to go to sleep.
Never sleep
So
again.
that's right. So I feel like we're in a comfortable spot of putting this in S tier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only gripe I have with this movie, the singular gripe,
Mm-hmm.
is the very last shot of the blow up doll being pulled through the window.
Nancy's mom.
If it would have stopped right before that, it would have been the perfect movie.
It happened so fast. I don't think you
Yeah.
really notice it, but now with like how technology advances, we can go back and just slow things down.
Yep.
It looks terrible, but I
But
don't think that's going to make the movie bad overall just
nope.
from that one thing alone.
Nope. S tier all the way.
Yeah, I agree. Next one, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I think this one was called Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Revenge, that is correct.
So I do like this movie. I think it's a pretty solid sequel, despite the fact that Nancy is not involved in this movie at all, or the Thompsons.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's
people have considered this a very gay movie.
Yeah,
Which
there's a lot of
which there's nothing wrong with that at all.
right. There's a lot of just the homoerotic undertones
Mhm.
just kind of strewn throughout, and it it does add some to the movie, I think. In
Are you talking about like the watchable factor?
Yes. So oddly enough, this is the only Nightmare movie I've only seen once.
Really?
I've seen the rest of them multiple times. I've only seen this one that singular time. Um, Not because I don't enjoy this movie, it's just not one that I will look at the Nightmare series and say, that's the one I want to watch. If I'm going to watch one, I'm probably going to watch this one or
Right,
not this
yeah.
one, the first one or one of the other sequels. But I don't think it should be discredited just because, it wasn't the greatest sequel. I enjoyed it the one time I watched it, but
An okay sequel.
yeah,
It, yeah, it takes a break from the whole Thompson stuff because I like how I like how it introduces a new character, and it does take place, new character with Jesse, and it takes place in the Elm Street house. I do like that. Because it almost gives you a sense of like, is this house cursed? I will tell you what my my one main gripe with the movie. Freddy wants to possess Jesse's soul, but I'm like, Freddy kills you in your dreams. He's not like some possession demon. I thought that was a
yeah,
little weird to me.
it it was a very strange choice. I didn't really like that part of it. I did think that Mark Patton's acting as Jesse
Oh, it's
was
great.
absolutely phenomenal. That alone
I
is
feel like his acting is what makes the movie watchable.
I agree. I agree. He
So
delivers.
yeah, I'm with you on that too. Not only that, his scream. Oh my gosh, dude,
It is iconic.
it
It
is
is
very
great.
iconic. Um, Here's where I would put this in tier listing. I think it's really solid because it's very enjoyable, very watchable.
Mhm.
But like I said, it has flaws, like the whole Freddy not being this dream demon, but more of like this possession demon.
Yeah.
I would actually put this in B tier.
That's kind of where I was thinking for it as well.
Glad we agree.
Not the greatest sequel, but definitely not as bad as some
No,
of the other ones.
it's not a great sequel. It's a good sequel. Like it's
Yeah.
a solid sequel. You watch it like, oh, this is something new, something different. I can watch this. Even though, like I said, it's good, but it has some flaws.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors. Dude,
Oh man.
I fucking love this movie, dude. So
This is my
much.
favorite dream. This is my favorite Nightmare movie.
Mine too. Mine too. I agree. Um, I love that they brought Nancy back, but more into like this. She's in control,
Yeah.
which I like that. She's learned how Freddy kind of does his stuff and how he can actually be beaten, and she kind of takes all these what we just they're not like in rehab. They're like what? They were kind of like in a I don't want to say mental institute. What would you say? Maybe
It's kind
it
of
was
like
like a I
like a
guess it
mental
okay,
rehabilitation kind of a mix of
like
the two.
yeah, I guess you could say it was kind of like a rehab because you had all these kids that had their own things going on, but not like a really not like a drug rehab. I mean,
Right.
you have Taryn who's like the recovering heroin addict, but I think it's just like a kind of like a ward for
Yeah,
kids.
more just like a wing of the hospital
Yeah, I
feel
guess you could
type
say that.
thing.
We got some very iconic lines in this movie.
Oh, so it's so quotable. It is
That
probably
too.
the most quotable of the Nightmare movies.
Yeah, very quotable. Like, welcome to primetime, bitch. I think, and I honestly, that's probably Robert Englund's favorite catchphrase he used. I think when he actually autographs stuff, you'll see a lot of his memorabilia, and he always signs it like "Welcome to primetime, bitch," Freddy Krueger.
Oh, so great.
Uh, I've seen it a lot in memorabilia, and the story, like, dude, very entertaining. It has good visual and practical effects. Um,
One of my favorite kills in this is where with the puppet, where he make turns him into the puppet.
oh, the Marionette, yeah,
That that was so
clever.
visually creepy.
It's
And
clever too.
yes, very clever, very unsettling, and it played well against the humor that we had from some of Freddy's lines.
Hmm.
He wasn't full on parody at this point.
Yeah, he
He
wasn't a full
was
on Looney Tune.
this was the one of the perfect middle grounds between him being this dark, twisted,
Sense of humor guy or demon.
yeah, and the Looney Tune. This was like the perfect mix of the two. It also seems to be Robert Englund just had an amazing time
But
making
you
it.
can tell
He
he had
seemed like
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell he had fun. And this is where I wanted to reiterate back on this. So he does a lot of kills in part one, the very first movie, of people when they were asleep.
Mhm.
Not so much in two. Like there's that scene in two where he shows up at the pool party and just wrecks all the kids.
Yeah.
You're all my children now.
That is a great line from that movie.
And then with three, this, like I said, this is where I want to reiterate. This is back to where these dream killings become extremely creative.
Yeah.
So I really dig it. Um, Not only that, the ending, holy shit, dude.
Oh, the ending is beautiful.
I don't think anybody saw that happening.
No, no.
Also, if you haven't watched it, stop the video, go watch it, and you'll love it. We're actually not going to talk about the ending, but those who know, you know. So we can agree, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors, S tier.
Yep. Easy. Easy S.
That's an easy yes. Moving on, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. This one has my favorite kill, probably almost in the entire series. The Roach Motel.
Oh yes, that I I hate bugs. Bugs are one of my most hated things, and that made my skin crawl. It was
That
very good.
very good practical effects. Not only that, like the bug part where her face gets stuck in the glue, and oh my gosh, dude, chilling.
It is, and this is also the unless I'm getting the two mixed up again, which I do get this and 3 mixed up sometimes just because I watch them so close
Right,
together.
right, right.
But this is where he kills the one girl by force feeding her, right? By making her eat a whole bunch.
Oh,
I can never remember if it's in this one or the other one in
oh
3.
man, it's not three. I know it's not three. I
I
honestly, I want to say, I actually might have to look this up. It's from five. Okay,
Oh, it is
that's
from
what.
5. Okay.
Yeah, it's from five. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like these movies, they were shot kind of close together, and some people kind of get them a little. I don't know what you say. Like yeah, like you said, they're a little more on the. They can get a little confusing,
Yeah.
especially
Oh,
if you like watch them like in a day.
yeah.
You're just like, wait, what was that?
This had the really good waterbed kill.
Yes.
That's okay.
So yeah, this is a really the Dream Master is a solid sequel to 3 because you still have it's basically I like to call this Freddy is still going after those dream warriors.
Mhm.
So he's kind of like you may be the dream warriors, but I'm the dream master.
Right. I I also forgot that Robert Englund also played a nurse in
Oh yeah.
this without makeup. I totally forgot about that until I was looking at the IMDb on it.
Hmm.
It said Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger and nurse parentheses without makeup.
Yeah, so like Dream Master, this is the one where he reappears in the dreams of the Dream Warriors, the
Right.
remaining ones, Kristen, Joey, and Kincaid. And he uses Kristen's best friend, Alice, to gain access to his new victims in order to kill them. I like the story. It's still interesting. It's to me, it's a solid follow up after Dream Warriors. I
I
would
agree.
definitely have to put this in an A tier because I
Yeah.
really do enjoy this one.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything really glaringly bad about it. I
Well,
definitely say.
I would say this is kind of like where these are getting into the Freddy one-liners. He's starting to become a little more on the comical side, like when he kills like the waterbed kill. How's this for a wet dream? I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
all right. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he does he's starting to go down that road.
yes, he has
He's
started to go down the road.
but I definitely agree with A tier.
So moving on, we have, oh boy, A
Oh,
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
God.
This one, there's some things about it that I can appreciate, and there's some things about it that I just cannot get on board with, man.
It
I
it just
like I like the gothic look of it all.
I like the visuals in
Yeah.
this. I'm trying to I'm trying to give it props where it's due. The visuals in this, it's a much darker looking movie, which I think fits well with everything. Um it I don't know. This movie I'm not the biggest fan of. It definitely tries to do some lore and tries to do
Yeah, the
some
mytho about how they talk more about like Freddy's mom, how she was wasn't his mom a nun?
yeah, she was a nun
Yeah,
at like
yeah. A
insane
mental institute.
asylum.
Yeah, insane asylum, and she was raped by like 100 inmates or crazy souls, or is what they say, something like that.
Yeah, and like they're, if they're
It's
wanting to really look at lore, the first one didn't mention that at all.
no, they just talked about how he was a murderer, and the parents killed him and burned him.
Yeah. And that was kind of his lore. There was none of this, oh, his mom was a nun and hallowed ground and all this nonsense. I'm like, this is getting like I appreciate trying to put lore into a slasher movie. I'm always down for lore. But this is a really weird hill to die on.
Oh God. Oh, is this no? I'm thinking ahead of myself. Um, I'll talk about it later. But yeah, like the whole the mytho of everything, it's so convoluted to where I'm like, I can't, I don't get it, and I don't care for it.
Yeah.
Um, it's just to me, it's just very poorly just constructed overall. I mean, I get that it's a somewhat okay sequel to. I like how they continue on after 4 because this is the one where Freddy is trying to use Alice, who's now pregnant, is trying to use the baby's dreams to claim new victims. I'll be to me, that's just way too confusing.
Yeah.
There's way too much stuff going on for it. I don't like this movie at all. To me, it feels very skippable. I want to put this in F.
Is this which one is this Super Freddy?
No.
Okay.
Super Freddy is in the next one.
That's right. Okay. Again, a lot of
However,
these mixed up in my head.
yeah. However, part 5, motorbike kill, very cool kill. I'll give you that.
That is a good kill. I think that keeps it out of F for me personally, but I understand F tier overall.
I tell you this. Let's go ahead and put the Dream Child in D tier. And now we'll talk about Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. Because I feel like this could be F tier.
So, funny story about this movie for me. For the longest time, this was the only Nightmare movie I had not seen.
Really?
And I attempted to watch this 3 separate times and fell asleep every time. And one night I finally said, I'm going to watch this. And I hated this movie.
I did not like this one.
It's so bad.
I mean, Super Freddy.
Now you're playing with power.
Like,
This is the full Looney Tune Freddy.
yes, he has gone from this horrific, just demon that was from the originals into this bland, annoying, predictable cartoon boogeyman that everybody likes.
Yeah. He's lost the scary factor.
Yeah.
He has no real and we also get more backstory that we did not ask for.
Oh, his daughter. Wasn't it?
There was something, yeah, it was like his kid, but then you have the scenes where, you see young Freddy and teenage Freddy, and this movie's a mess. This movie's a mess.
I have one thing that I only like about this movie. Like one thing, like, okay, I'll give you that. There is that very iconic line where Freddy says, every town has an Elm Street.
That is a very good line.
That is a good line. I give it that. But because of everything we discussed, plus the Tom Arnold Roseanne Barr cameo, F.
Yeah. Easy.
Not only that,
easy.
Freddy playing with the Nintendo glove. As much as I like the Nintendo glove and all that good stuff, why Freddy? Why?
Yeah.
Then you had Spencer jumping up and down. It's just so wacky, dude.
It looked so bad.
Yeah. Let's move on to Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Oh boy.
Now this one I really like. It's totally different in a good way.
Yes, this is probably my most rewatched of the Nightmare series, if I'm being honest. I think I've seen this more than I have Dream Warriors or the first one.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely love everything about this movie. I love that Wes Craven is actually in this movie. It feels so natural.
This is a very meta movie too.
Mm-hmm.
You have this whole let's make a movie about a Nightmare on Elm Street, the franchise, and put it into a movie. Because now you have oh man. You have Heather Langenkamp coming back, but playing herself, not Nancy.
Thought the kill of Nancy's husband was just so cool. I thought is so well done. You know, he's driving in the car, he starts to fall asleep, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden this glove comes out of the seat.
Yes, that the prototype glove.
And the nightmare that Heather has at the beginning of the movie, where they're making another nightmare sequel that no one's known about, and her husband's killed with the glove, sets up so much stuff for later on. It is just, it's meta, it's good, the kills are good. Freddy looks amazing in this.
Yes, he has that whole the duster coat, and the thing too is I don't if I recall, it's not actually Freddy. It's
That's
this
true.
it's this demon
The
who's
entity.
taken it's this demon entity taking the form of Freddy, hence why there's so many differences. Also, I do love how Robert Englund makes a cameo in the movie as Freddy Krueger on the talk show.
That that is so great. And he is clearly having the time of his life doing that.
He's like, wait, I get to be Freddy and myself at the same time? I'm in.
And it was beautifully done. It's the whole movie. The ending towards the end, with where they're in like the boiler room,
Mhm.
that gets a little weird for me at times.
Yeah,
Um,
but I can still sit through it.
oh
It's
yeah,
fine
that
by me.
the kills and other things alone
Well,
make
yeah,
this.
that's where I want to go too. It pays homage to a lot of the original stuff. Like the scene where the babysitter's in the hospital, she's getting killed by Demon Freddy, and he tells the kid, I forget the kid's name, ever played Skin the Cat, and he like
Yeah.
kills her. Like the same way that Tina died in the first movie. Love that, dude. Love the homage that they paid to that.
And we get John Saxon back,
Yes.
which I loved that, where Nancy is transported into the actual Elm Street world,
Yes.
and she's talking to him, and she
That's
calls him John,
Dad. Well, then
and
yeah, she
she's
calls him John, but doesn't she like call him like dad or something? Because he's like, no, you have to be Nancy.
yeah, there's something. I can't remember the exact exchange, but I know she calls him something. He's like, Nancy, what are you talking about? She's like, Nancy.
Yeah.
And it just, I love this
see,
movie.
I don't want people to get like confused, like oh, this sounds confusing. Like, no, listen, it's not part of the same continuity as like the other films. Um, Freddy Krueger is like he's this villain who invades the real world, and he's like haunting the cast and the crew making the films about him. Like I said, this is a Freddy that's possessed by this entity.
Yeah.
And
I would
I feel like this is what Wes originally wanted to do. The
agree.
whole more menacing and less comical, which I love.
I do too. It fits perfectly.
Now, where do we rank this one at?
So
I will tell you this, and I'll make it simple on a comparison. I think this goes in A tier
I agree. I was about to say that.
because I
It's
don't think I can put this in the same level as B tier as part two.
no.
Although I wouldn't want to put this up to par with the original and part three. I feel like this fits perfectly in A tier.
I agree 100% with that.
Moving on now, when I had this format, I would have included Freddy versus Jason. I would have, but this format, for whatever reason, does not have it. However, I discussed it in my previous video with Horizon. We put Freddy versus Jason and B tier together.
I would concur with that. I enjoy that movie for
That's what we're saying. We're like, it's not amazing. It's okay. It's watchable. It's
yeah.
enjoyable. There's nothing bad about it. The only gripe I had with it, Horizon was going to put it in A tier. And I told him, I said, I would put it in A tier because I love the soundtrack. I love the kills. I love the crossover. I think it's really good. Well done. That ending fucking kills it for me, dude.
Yeah, the ending
Freddy's
sucks.
severed head winking. I'm just like, wait, huh? All this for that? Like, come on.
Could have went so many different directions, and they decided to do that.
Exactly. And I was like, for that, that just puts it in B tier for me.
And the overuse of CGI, I realize that it's just kind of a product of the times.
Yeah, the
CGI was
early
fun and exciting,
2000s.
but CGI takes a lot out for me in horror movies.
Yeah, I'm all for practical effects.
Same.
All right. So that leads
Oh,
us to A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Not a reboot. It's a remake.
not a reboot. Straight
It's a,
up remake.
it's a remake with just different characters.
So I've come to appreciate this movie more and more.
I do too. I don't hate on it as much as I did when I first saw it. I feel like this is one of those movies where it's like, it's good, but man, it's got some flaws.
Yeah. I I do want to give props to Jackie Earl Haley.
You know what? He gets a lot of shit for this, but you know what? I still think he did an okay job.
It's
He's super creepy, dude. Very. That's the thing I want to get back. The one thing I don't like that they did, dude, Freddy's a fucking perv.
hate that. Absolutely
It's
hate that.
so, but I feel like they did that just to give it that creepy. I'm like, you could have done it without the perviness, though.
Or not it don't put that in there. Just first off, don't put that in the movie.
Well,
If you
actually,
allude to it,
I'll
it's
actually go back on this. So, if you haven't seen this movie, well, I don't want to say I'll save you the trouble, but I will tell you what we're talking about. And if you don't want to hear it, just stop the video, go watch it for yourself, then come back. They made Freddy not a child killer, a child molester in this movie. And from what I heard, I think Craven wanted to do that originally, but just decided to do a child killer instead. So I guess you could say this movie is really edgy in a cringe way.
yeah, it's not well done either. It's not yeah, not a fan of that angle.
The other thing too I don't like about it, I do not like the depth that they went into these characters. I don't feel as bad for like it's hard to like that character build of like man I really care about these characters like that like it didn't do anything for me.
I I did not like Rooney Mara in this. She from what I've read about this movie and just kind of from what I know, she's not a fan of horror movies. They offered
Mm.
her a fair amount of money to do this, so she took it. But she had never seen any of the Nightmare movies. She wasn't a fan of horror movies, and her portrayal of Nancy in this is abysmal. She has some good moments. The pharmacy scene is probably my favorite of this.
I did like Kyle Gallner as Quentin. I did like
Kyle
the
was
Quentin
good.
character.
Yeah, Quentin was a welcome addition to this. He had some good charisma, and he actually made you a little bit invested in his character,
Mhm.
which was a breath of fresh air for this movie. But
Plus like I said when we go back like all the CGI stuff like man like when you go back and watch it comparison Nancy in bed, Freddy coming through the wall. You look at
uh,
oh, that's so bad CGI, dude.
yeah,
And then you go back and look at 1984's practical effect, dude. Doesn't even touch it, man.
no,
1984 practical effect holds up to this day, better than the
yep,
CGI crap.
could not agree more.
This is a movie I find it's watchable. It has flaws. It's okay. I kind of put this in C tier.
Yeah, it's it's a low low C for me.
Yeah, but like when you mean
Possible.
low C, I would rather watch this over Dream Child, over Freddy's Dead.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So we'll put that there. All right, man. So there's our tier list. Um, I think we nailed that, dude.
Yeah, I think so too. That
And
is
these are our opinions. Everyone has their own. Shit, you might think Freddy's Dead's the best fucking Nightmare on Elm Street movie ever made because you like Super Freddy, you like Power Gloves, and you know what? That's fine. As long, but I feel like the masses agree, from a majority of Nightmare on Elm Street fans, absolutely love part 1 and part 3.
yep, the two best.
Yeah, I agree too. So yeah, if you haven't even watching these movies, definitely go check them out. All right, man. I appreciate the hanging out for me, and I
Yeah,
will catch you on the next video.
sounds good.
Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and go check out Felix's Twitch channel whenever he decides he's going to stream again.
One day, it'll happen.
All right, dude. Later.